Hi guys. Can you hear me? Good evening. Good evening everyone. I hope you can hear me. Good evening everyone. I hope you can hear me, yeah? If you can, please um type it on the chat box. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. We are back. Good evening everyone. Let's just wait for a um couple more people, then we can make a start. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you can hear me okay. Yeah, we have a new mic, so hopefully it's working. Thank you, Sharman. You can hear me, yeah? Thank you. Unfortunately, our camera is bad at the moment. So as you can see, I'm using the camera of my computer. For some reason, my other camera it's broken. Yep. So, but hopefully, it doesn't affect our what do you call this? It doesn't affect our session this evening. Thank you. See, we have an upgrade. Yeah, we have a new microphone. We are upgrading. So thank you for supporting. So guys, thank you for supporting my channel. We've reached how many subscribers? 20,000 subscribers. Oh my god, it's been a while. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe. And of course, do follow me on my social media accounts at Emer Diego across all social media platforms. So on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, what else? Thread, and of course my TikTok channel. Please do follow that at Emer Diego. So, thank you for watching. Please like this video, guys. Yeah, please like this video, subscribe, and of course, please do share this video. Yeah, I can hear my voice now. Yeah, yeah, it's better than the last microphone we had, but unfortunately, the camera is a bit low quality this evening. So please do bear with me. And of course, before we start, I would like to thank. We have a sponsor. Oh my God, we are upgrading. We have a sponsor, so we would like to thank World Remit for sponsoring the class this evening. Of course, if you're sending money home, please download the World Remit app and of course, use my code. Yeah, you can see it on the screen. It's Emmer, and you will get an additional £15 on your first transaction. And of course, World Remit will be sponsoring a ticket for our final coaching this weekend. Yeah, this coming Saturday and Sunday. So, guys, um, if you download the app, send your first ever um, transaction. I think minimum of £20. Use my code and then send me probably like a screenshot of the transaction, and I will pick somebody or winner or winners that will join our final coaching for free. Yeah, so I will announce the winner tomorrow. Tomorrow probably at 12 noon. Yeah, so that's our cutoff for our raffle. Okay, so please download the app, World Remit app. Um, Send your first transaction. I think minimum of £20. Use my code, of course. Don't forget that. Yeah, Emmer, you will get additional £15. So your £20 will be plus 15, so that's £35 on your first transaction, and you will get the chance to join our final coaching this weekend. Okay, so once you join our final coaching, you will be able to join our final coaching, the succeeding ones, for free. So yeah, so please invite your friends. We might be picking winners. We don't know how many, but let's see. So thanks to World Remit for sponsoring that. So yes, please do let your friends know. Message me probably. Um, JV is asking how much to pay to join. The final coaching is, I think, how much? I think £185 or £100. I might be wrong. Yeah, so £85, I think. But yeah, so if you send money home, £20, you will get 15 bonus. And of course, you will get a chance to join the final coaching this weekend. So please do invite your friends, share it with your friends, and we will see each other this Friday. So I will announce the winner or winners tomorrow, 12 noon UK time. I will announce it here on my YouTube channel. So please do subscribe, and of course on my Facebook page. So we will select a winner. And of course, guys, I'm running this April on the London Marathon. So if you want to donate, of course, all the proceeds will go to Victa. It's a charity which supports adolescent and children who are blind. Okay, so all the proceeds will go there. So hopefully you can cheer me on the day of the marathon. It's the 21st of April. Okay, so guys, we will now start. Okay, so this evening, as promised, I'm too bright on the screen. I can see myself. Sorry, we're using a low budget camera this evening because my camera decided not to work a few minutes before we start. But yeah, again, thank you for joining us. Again, please to subscribe my channel, and of course give this video a thumbs up, and of course click the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live and for the next coming video. So this evening we will be discussing evaluation station. So evaluation station, probably some of you are ready to take the OSCE very soon. I don't know if you can, guys, can you please do me a favor, can you please type on the comment section, when are you going to take your exams, or where as well, or and which part of the world are you from? Let's see who are our who are watching this evening, this very cold evening in the UK. It's raining all day. I thought we're approaching summer very soon. So whilst you're typing your answer or whatever your comments, let me just find my thing so I can show it on the screen. Okay. There you go. Right. So JV, 12th of March. So that's soon. Okay, so we're counting the days then. Good luck, JV. Yeah? Where are you taking your exam? Shamani. You have a very long name. Okay, so it's 19th of March. Good luck, of course. Where are you taking your exams? Oni, hello. I don't know if Oni. Do I know Oni? M is my pet name, like that's my childhood name. Well, all right. So please, JV, he will be taking his exam in Northampton. Okay, so just here in near London. So Northampton. So that's good. Good luck, JV. Yes, hopefully you can join our final coaching. So how to join the final coaching? So if you go to Eventbrite, go to Eventbrite website, search for my name. So it's Emerdig, and you will find the registration in there. Or you go to my Facebook page, Emerdig, you will see the link to register. But of course, again, download WhatsApp. World Remit, our sponsor this evening, and you will get the chance to join our final coaching this weekend for free. So that will be Saturday and Sunday. And we normally record our final coaching, and we, of course, if in case you miss some parts of the final coaching, of course, I know some of you might be working this weekend. I normally send the recording to those people who attended, so you can watch it. And of course, you will be able to attend the succeeding final coaching for free. Okay, so that's it. All right. So yeah, just if you have any questions, guys, just pop it on the chat box, and we will be discussing it. And I hope you will enjoy our session. Okay, so probably some of you might be watching this video later today or in the coming days. So hello, welcome. I hope please do use my code. Yeah, it's Emmer, and download the app so you have an additional £15. And what else? That's it, I think. So yeah, so some people might be watching this a bit late. So welcome to my channel, and thank you for watching. Jam, the exam is, I don't know if Jam is a he or she. Exam is Gre- Northampton. Okay. She's from Greenwich. Oh, we are neighbors. Yeah. Um, Jam, we are neighbors. I also live in London. So good luck, Jam. And of course, thank you for joining our session this evening. Um, all right. Okay, we will now make a start. So I'll give you some information, of course, about the evaluation station, and then we will discuss it in more depth shortly. So, as you know, in the OSCE, we have 10 stations. Yeah, so we have 10 stations, the API stations, which comprises of the following. So, we have the assessment, planning, implementation, um, and of course evaluation station. Sorry, my mind is a bit lagging. So assessment, planning, implementation, and of course the evaluation station. So those are your API stations. So this evening we will be focusing on the evaluation station. So um, this section of your exam is handing over, okay, for the continuity of care of your patient. So guys, if you're wondering if you could watch like the old videos, I mean the previous live streams, so you can just go to my channel. I think there is a playlist named live streams, so you will be able to watch our old live streams. I've discussed other stations before. I'm liking my new microphone. Yeah, I can hear myself clearly through the monitor. But again, the video is not the best. I'm really sorry. Um, and of course, apart from your API stations, assessment, planning, implementation, and evaluation, you also have your 4 skills, 4 random skills out of 22. That's a lot. Okay, so guys, good luck on that. I know you'll be fine. Okay, you will be fine. Definitely, you will be able to pass the examination. And what else? Of course, you have your 2 writing stations. You have your EBP, your evidence-based practice, and of course your professional values. Okay, so those are the 10 stations on the day of your examination. So um, for the API series, for the scenarios, we have how many scenarios? 8, 9 scenarios. So Emmer, where can I find those scenarios? On the website. Yes, if you go to, we might probably on our next session we might be discussing the scenario. So if you want to see it, go to the website, go to your test center website. You will be able to find the scenarios there. Okay. And so that's it for examination. So again, this evening we will be focusing on the evaluation station. So evaluation station is the end of your API series. So you will be ending the scenario with this because of course you will be handing over the patient. Okay. Um, during this station, you will be given 8 minutes. Okay, so you will be given 8 minutes. That's the time allocated for this station. So it's a verbally assessed station, which means whatever you're saying or handing over to your assessor or your colleague or whoever the person is during your examination, it's the only thing that will matter. Okay, so you will be given a chance to take down notes, but again, taking down notes is not really necessary because the taking down notes part will not be marked. Okay, so whatever you're saying to your assessor or examiner, that's it. Okay, so make sure what you call this, really focus on the day. So guys, one tip that I could possibly tell you now is do not dwell or do not spend a lot of time writing down notes, okay? Because again, evaluation station, you are just simply handing over or telling the things you've done for your patient during their stay. Okay, so which means you are just referring to your previous documents, your documents from assessment, your documents from planning, your documents from implementation station, and just give a summary of what happened during the patient's stay or during, let's say, during the patient's stay in your area or during your visit, let's say in a care home, during your visit in the patient's residence. you will just be saying or stating whatever happened. Of course, you will be ending that conversation with a recommendation. Okay, so we will be discussing the S bar format this evening. Okay, so that's it. Any question before we continue? Let me just quickly read some comments here. So Chamani, I hope I'm saying name properly. Forgive me if I'm not. From Scotland. Hello. Thank you for watching. And we also have, I hope I'm saying this properly, Cherno. I'm really sorry if I butchered your name. She's doing an individual, or he is doing individual booking in June in Ulster. So good luck. Okay. Are you from Northern Ireland, Cherno, or you're just flying to Northern Ireland for your examination? So if you're going to Ulster, of course you have to fly. If you live in England, of course you need to fly there. So remember, Northern Ireland is still part of the UK, so you don't need to have a visa. Um, right. Any questions so far? So that's your evaluation station. Okay. So this evening I will be we will now start discussing the marking criteria. So if you watch our other live streams before, you know that the Bible of the OSCE, or the reference for you to pass, is the marking criteria. Okay, so please do remember, guys, that the marking criteria changes very often. Okay, so the latest marking criteria, so the one I'll be showing, the one on the screen, as you can see here, this one on the screen, which one? This one, it's the marking criteria uploaded on the website. So there are loads of iterations of the marking criteria. Make sure you have the latest one. Yeah, the latest marking criteria. So if you still have the old one, just throw it, because again, you might fail because of that. Okay, so an example of that is, I don't know if you've heard from your friends not too long ago that the resheeting was removed from the marking criteria. So if you resheet during the examination, you will fail IM. Yeah, you will fail IM. So make sure that don't do that. If you still have the old marking criteria, it's there. Yeah, but if you have the latest version, resheeting is no longer mentioned. Okay, or part of the practice. Okay, all right. Let me just, sorry, I need to wear my glasses now. This is where the tough part, because I need to read. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So the one on the screen is your marking criteria version 2.3. Okay? 2.3. So this is the December 2023 version. This is the latest marking criteria, which was uploaded December 2023. I still remember it was 2.2 and then 2.3. I think they uploaded the marking criteria twice in December, if my memory serves me right. Yeah. If you watch our old video, our live streams couple of weeks ago, I remember I was showing version 2.2. So I remember, so definitely December they've uploaded the marking criteria, or they changed, or they've updated the marking criteria twice. Cherno is from Gambia. Oh, Gambia. There you go. Thank you for watching, Cherno. Yeah, I hope I'm saying it properly. Welcome to our channel. Of course, invite your friends. Yeah. All right. We will now go to page. What page is that? Implementations. If you have a copy, please grab it. Page 11. Yes. Just again, make sure you have the latest marking criteria. If you have the old one, just throw it. Okay. Download the latest criteria, please. Page 11. All right. So this is the marking criteria that you need to study. Okay. So this is what you will be marked against during the day. So regardless whether you're going to, let's say, like, regardless where, let's say you're doing examination in Ulster, Northampton, Oxford, where Leeds, or Northumbria, you will be using the same marking criteria. Okay, so because again, the NMC creates this. Yeah, it's not the test center but the NMC. The test center, they only deliver the examination. Yeah, they only deliver the exam. So there is a question from Chamani. Can you repeat the date? So, Chamani, you can see in the screen, yeah? It's version 2.3. This was published December 2023. So, guys, if you're watching this video, let's say in April or March, please do check your marking criteria, because probably by that time there is a latest marking criteria. Probably it's, I mean, since the update was December, they might upload another version, let's say February or March. So for those people who will be taking the exam in April or March, please make sure to check the marking criteria, because again, they can always change it without prior notice. So it's your responsibility to check your test center's website for the latest what to call it, readings and etc. Okay, all right. Let's discuss the marking criteria now. So the first one is you have to introduce yourself and the clinical setting. Okay, so criteria 1A is it easy? Of course. Hello, my name is, as an example, Emmer Diego, and I am the nurse working at, let's say, acute medical unit. So Emmer, how will I know the clinical setting where I am during the examination? It will be written on the scenario. Okay, so for 1A, for you to be able to, to know where you're at, it will be written in the scenario. So so during your handover, you need to tell whoever you're handing over with where you're based. Okay, so it's written in the scenario. So make sure to read the scenario properly. Okay. 1B. Any questions for that? Just pop your questions in our chat box. Okay, so that's easy. So 1A is pretty easy. Okay, so hello, my name is Emer Diego. I am the nurse working at, or currently based at, let's say, acute medical unit. Okay, so that is your clinical setting. So that's easy. Okay. 1B states the patient's name, hospital number, and or date of birth and location. Okay, so Emmer, how will I know, or where will I find this information? So guys, on your examination, on the scenario, it will be written. So there are couple of documents where you will find the answer. Okay, so number one, if you're aware, of course, you have your patient overview. Okay, let me show it on the screen. So let's apart from me discussing the marking criteria, I will also discuss where to find the information from. So you don't need to write, you just basically finding the paper where it's written. Okay, you're basically finding the paper where it's written, so you don't need to write it. Okay, to save some time. So for 1B, let's find where, let's check your document. So the thing that I'll be showing on the screen is a mock exam. Okay, so Emma, where can I find the mock exam? A sample mock exam. It's on the website. So if you go to your test center's website, again, the one I'm showing on the screen is the mock exam, so you can practice it. Yeah, let me find it. All right, so the one on the screen is the mock exam. I don't know if anyone in this who's watching now, have you ever what do you call this, have you ever checked this document before? I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Because if not, you need to go to the website as soon as possible and read this. Okay, I hope this is big enough, but If it's not too big, just of course grab a copy and then watch this video again. All right. So let's go back to 1B. So this is an example of your mock exam. Again, this is for free. You can download it on the website. So let's go to page. What page is that? I can't remember. So let's go to this one. So this is the paper for assessment station. Definitely on this paper, remember 1A, your clinical setting. Definitely this paper will tell you probably where you're at. Okay, it will give a hint where you're at. Are you performing a community scenario? Are you performing an inpatient scenario? This document definitely will give you a hint. Okay, so that's your assessment paper. So this is what I'm referring to for 1B. Remember 1B, you have to state your patient's name, date of birth. What else? What else is that? Sorry, I need to open the other one. All right. You need to state your patient's name, hospital number, date and or date of birth and location. So it's written here. So as you can see here as an example, name Ash Potter, the date of birth is the 1st of the 1st, 1950, address, and of course the GP. It's written here. At the back of this paper, you will also see the hospital number. Okay, so Ash Potter, hospital number, the one on the screen, 0004321, address, and of course the date of birth. So this paper will tell you or will answer the question for 1B, or not the question, but again, this will of course give you the detail or the information for marking criteria 1B. Okay, there is another one. Okay, there is another one. If you go to the evaluation paper, let's find an evaluation paper. This is planning. Oh, let's see planning. On the planning paper as well, you will also see the patient's details. So again, if in case you're to say panicking on the day of the exam, you have multiple, sources of information to answer or to be able to meet the criteria 1B. Okay? I hope I'm making sense. Okay? The other one, of course, your drug chart. The drug chart also contains your patient's information. Say Ash Potter, date of birth, hospital number. You can also use this to, of course, meet criteria 1B. Another one, last but not the least, is your evaluation paper. So this evaluation paper, the one on your screen, is the paper that will be given to you containing the brief about the patient, what happened to the patient you've met during assessment station, and what is the next course of action. Okay, so you will see. Let's read this quickly. So this document must be completed using a blue pen. So you will be given a blue pen. So Emmer, why are we using blue pen for evaluation station? Because the reason for that is so you won't be able to change your previous answers, because during this station, the examiner or the assessor will give all your paper back. Okay, so which means your assessment paper, let's say you've completed news earlier, you completed your GCS, or you completed your MUST, your PHQ9, it will all the assessor will all give it back to you for your reference, okay, to of course complete and succeed on this station. The assessor will also give you your planning paper. The assessor will also give you your implementation paper, your drug chart, and this. So the reason for the blue pen is for you not to be able to change your previous answer. Remember, assessment station, you will be using green pen. For planning station, you will be using a black pen. For implementation station, you will also be using a black pen. So Emma, why is planning and implementation the same colored pen? Because when you reach implementation station, the assessor will take away all your papers, of course, except for your drug chart. Okay, and then again, evaluation station, the assessor will give all your paper back to you, so you can use it for your reference, for your handover. Because remember, can you imagine? Of course, whenever you hand over, of course you need your patient's information, isn't it? Whenever you hand over, you need your patient's data, you need your patient's chart. If whenever you hand over, because that will be the basis of your fax or your handover. Because again, it's impossible for you to memorize everything, right? So that's your evaluation, and of course, at the back of this paper, you will also see the patient's details. So you can see Ash Potter, your hospital number 0004321, the date of birth, and of course the address. Okay, so going back to 1B, you have multiple sources of information. So you are basically reading it. So I hope I'm making sense. So going back to marking criteria 1B, you need to state the following: the patient's name, hospital number, and or the date of birth and the location. Emmer, what's the location? Again, it will be written on the scenario. Okay? It will be written on the scenario. So make sure to remember where you're at. Okay? So let's read this an example of a scenario. Before I forget, let's read the rest of the instructions. At this station, you should have access to your assessment, planning, and implementation documentation. If not, please alert the examiner. So as I've mentioned, you will be given the previous papers at this point. Before we carry on, let's answer some questions. Yeah, I hope guys you're enjoying it. Thank you for 16 million people who's watching us this evening, and of course for those people who will be watching this late or tomorrow, welcome again. Yeah, please do subscribe. Let's answer some questions from Maria Shelma Rivas. I like the name, very complete name. Will they provide the pen when we have our exam? Of course, yeah. The test center will provide the pen on the day of the exam. Just of course bring your black pen. That's it. Because of course you will be doing some registration at the beginning. Yeah, but you don't have to buy your own pen. They will provide it on the day. So the green, the black, the blue, it will be provided. You cannot buy a tricolored pen. Yeah, I have a tricolored pen here, like this. See, I have a snowman. Someone gave this to me. This multicolored pen. You cannot bring this on the day. Yeah, they will confiscate this because of course for obvious reasons. Next is there's another question from Cherno. Sure you pronounce it correctly. Already recommended. I see. You're still waiting for the sponsorship, Cherno. So fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. You will be getting your sponsorship very soon. Yeah, very soon. So I'll just give you some information. Recruitment again will start like March, April time. So definitely you will be. Agencies will notify you for the next recruitment because the funding for recruitment will come in couple of weeks time. Another question, Maya. What's your question, Maya? Then Bubakar, I hope I'm saying that properly. Can we connect? Say there you go. You message each other. Red, are the assessors very particular about what the recent vital signs imply? Shock, neurodeterioration, etc. We'll discuss it in a bit. Red, I like the name. Maya, the question is not evaluation related. For all the stations, all the materials will be provided already. We don't need to leave our station to get things that we need. It will be there. I'm not so sure what you meant, Maya, but generally speaking, all the materials will be there. Yeah. So I'm not so sure what you meant. Is it like I'm guessing it will be for the skills? Yeah. So all the materials for the examination will be there. Okay, it will be there. It will be there. You don't have to go in another room. Okay. So it depends. So the setup will depend on your exam in test center. Yeah. So guys, I'll give you an assignment. So after after our session, go to your test center's website. Normally they have a video showing how the test center would look like. Yeah. So definitely, I know I've watched Oxford Brookes, Northumbria. They also have a video. I think Northampton and Leeds, they also have a video. So go to their website, click the video, then they will show you how the test center would look like. Yeah. So how the setup would look like. Typically, the patient is just in a bed, and then all your equipment will just be within reach. Okay. You don't need to like walk a kilometer to grab your equipment. So that's how the setup is. So guys, please go to your test center's website. There will be a photo or a video showing that. Okay, so that's it. Let's go back. All right. Before we carry on, guys, another promotion, of course. Please, we would like to thank our sponsor for this evening, World Remit. There you go. We're leveling up. If you're sending money home, please download the app World Remit, and of course, use my promo code EMER for an additional £15. Yes, guys, and of course, if you do that, send me a screenshot of your transaction. I think you need to at least send minimum of £20. If you use my code, there'll be an additional £15, and you will get the chance to win a ticket for our final coaching this weekend for free. Okay, so I will announce the winner or winners tomorrow. Okay, we will announce the winners tomorrow at 12 noon, yeah, UK time, here on my YouTube channel. Just wait for the post, or on my Facebook. So guys, why not? Okay, so that will be this weekend. So there you go, download the app. All right, let's carry on. Okay, let me read the scenario. Scenario here is Ash Potter was admitted to the surgical assessment unit until after presenting with an infected abdominal wound, mild pain and constipation following a laparoscopic hemicolectomy. Ash has received analgesia, antibiotic, and laxatives. However, he continues to feel hot, tired, and unwell. Okay, so Ash's most recent observations were the following: temperature, pulse, respirations, oxygen, blood pressure, and of course, you will see the current or the latest news score, which is 3 on the screen. So it's telling us that probably, if you read between the lines, probably Ash is deteriorating. Yeah, so that is our guess for this scenario. So he was admitted to the surgical ward. He had a procedure, laparoscopic hemicolectomy, and Ash continues to feel hot, tired, and unwell. Okay, so these are so news 3. So guys, please do watch the session about news, and then of course you will learn more about it. So using your situation background assessment and recommendation, your SBAR tool, please make notes regarding your patient. So this is what I'm talking about earlier. You can take down notes, but again, do not spend a lot of time taking down notes. You have 8 minutes. And use this to verbally hand over information over to the doctor overseeing Ash's care, the examiner. So from this statement or from this paragraph, we can tell that you are handing over to a doctor. Okay, so definitely, whatever you're telling the doctor, whatever information you're sharing to the doctor should be, of course, appropriate to the person you're handing over to. So you're handing over to a doctor. Yeah. Again, it's the examiner. So that's the role of the examiner. You're not really handing over to a doctor on the day. Yeah. It's just the role of the examiner on the day. Okay. So as a doctor. So this is a verbally assessed a verbally assessed station, and you will have the opportunity to make notes to support your answer. Okay, so guys, my tip. So what will be your tip for taking down notes? So if it's me doing the examination, I will only write keywords. Okay, remember, for 1A, that's easy. You just need to introduce yourself and then your location. For 1B, remember, you're just basically reading the patient's information, the name, date of birth, etc. Okay, so for the succeeding parts of the marking criteria, of course, just the keywords. Okay, so that's it. And you have 8 minutes to make notes on the S bar form. You have 8 minutes to make notes on the S bar form. This is not assessed. And to complete the verbal handover to the examiner. So assume it is today and it's 1400 hours. So guys, I'll give you some information for the S bar. So sometimes, some scenarios, the assessment station took place in the morning or happened in the morning. Let's say the patient was admitted at 8 o'clock in the morning. You saw the patient or you assessed the patient, let's say 9 o'clock. And now the handover takes place still today, the same day, at 1400 hours. Okay, so it's a couple of hours after assessment. So it means the story progresses. Yeah, the story progresses. Like in real life, of course. There will be a continuation of the story from assessment, planning, implementation, and then of course evaluation. There are also scenarios on the day of the examination wherein the handover will take place the following day. Okay? The handover will take place the following day. Or it might be in the evening. Let's say you've met the patient in the morning and now you're handing over in the evening. Guys, let me ask you a question. Yeah, apart from a doctor, who do you think or what other scenarios do you think you will be handing over to? I mean, I don't know if I asked the question correctly. What other roles do you think you might encounter on the day? What scenarios that might require you to hand over? Okay, probably that's, I think I worded it correctly. So what scenarios or what instances do you think that you might be handing over the patient to someone? Can you give me some examples on the chat box? Okay, apart from the doctor, what other instances that you are required to hand over? There you go. This the easiest question. That's the easiest form of the question. What are the instances that you, of course, you are required to hand over? Thank you. Oh, Janelle. I hope I'm saying that properly. To another unit. Well done. Okay, so that's a good answer. Definitely, there. Of course, in real life, you might be handing over to another unit, another ward, another department. Okay, let's say you're handing. Let's say the patient is a surgical patient, and now the patient is, let's say, now recovering and needs to be transferred to a medical unit. Okay, let's say initially the patient was admitted to a respiratory ward, because the reason for that is because there's no bed available in other wards, but this patient is meant to go to, let's say, an elderly care ward. That might be a reason for a handover. You need to transfer the patient to a different area in the hospital. Next is to another nurse. Of course, Maya, well done. If the you might need to hand over the patient to another nurse. Why? Because of course your shift is ending. Of course you don't live in the hospital, yeah? We don't do 24-hour shifts. Let's say the nurse's shift, of course, what are the normal shifts? Let's say 8-hour shift. After your morning shift, you need to go home. You need to hand over, okay? What else? Probably, let's say after a 12-hour shift, let's say 7 till 7, of course, the night shift arrives, you do handover, you also do handover. Of course, you need to go home. There you go. That might be the reason. Um, Definitely, well done, Jam. You might be handing over to your nurse in charge. Let's say you're going for your break, isn't it? In real life, if you're going to your break, of course, you might be handing over to your nurse in charge whilst you're away. Maya, well done. I love Maya's answer. She said, a specialist team, yeah, such as TVN. If you're not familiar what TVN is, it's tissue viability nurse. You might be handing over to a specialist team such as your tissue viability nurse. Okay, so definitely whatever you're handing over, it should be relevant to the person you're handing over to. Okay, so whatever you're saying, it should be a bit, of course, relevant. Yeah. Let's say, um, there you go. Of course, let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say you're handing over to a phlebotomist. Of course, you will not be handing over other stuff that might not be relevant to a phlebotomist. Yeah. You're only handing over information that, of course, the phlebotomist will benefit. So, of course, be mindful of the information you'll be handing over on the day. All right. So, but most likely, majority of the scenarios, you will be handing over to another nurse. Okay. So, again, the majority of the scenarios, you will be handing over to another nurse. Okay. To another colleague. Okay. But again, it might be because you're ending your shift. The patient probably deteriorates, or there's something happened to your patient which needs someone to take over. The patient might be transferred to somewhere. Okay, so those might be the other reasons. Other potential reasons for the handover. And as you can see on your screen here, you are handing over to a doctor. This is an example of a scenario. So yeah, if you're not aware of this document, go to the test center's website, Oxford, Northampton, Northumbria. You will be able to see this. Same goes with the other examination for children, OSCE, of course, learning disability, mental health. Just go to their website. You will be able to see an example of the exam. Next is, of course, assume it is today and it's 1400. So that is your 1B. See? Right. We will now continue with the next criteria. Let me just show the criteria back on the screen. I hope, guys, you're enjoying our session, yeah? Thank you, Norivik. Yeah, it's my birthday couple of days ago. Thank you for those people who greeted me. If you haven't greeted me, it's your time to greet me now. Okay? If you haven't greeted me yet, please greet me now. I'm just kidding. All right. Let me just show it on the screen. Oh, there you go. So Norivik, she's asking just the right topic. You need to, she's saying, for those people who cannot understand what Norivik commented, she said, I look good on camera. That's what she said. Or I'm just kidding. She said this is the right topic. This is the topic she's been looking. Oh, she needs to improve one, I think. It's the translation. All right, next. Okay, let's carry on. Guys, if you have any question, please do pop it on the chat box. Okay, let me just find the criteria. Sorry, it's too little. I cannot read the thing on the screen. All right, we'll now proceed with criteria 1C. Guys, I hope you're enjoying, yeah? All right, so 1C states the reason for the handover where relevant. Okay, so what are the reasons? We just discussed it. Okay, so on the scenario, there will be definitely, you have to read between the lines. Yeah, so same with the one I've shown you earlier, the scenario that we just read. On the scenario, as you can see, that probably the patient is not improving. The patient is probably deteriorating. Remember Ash's scenario? It says there that he had what do you call this? He had a surgery and now he's still unwell. Okay, so the reason for the handover probably because for more let's say more, he needs monitoring, definitely. So if someone needs like let's say more frequent monitoring, intensive monitoring, what are we thinking? Where do you think Ash will go? What area of the hospital do you think he will possibly go? If the patient is deteriorating, where do you think Ash is going? The mock exam that we've shown. Probably he's probably going to thanks Jean. So there is a possibility of John going to intensive care. Okay, or there is a possibility of John going to a high dependency unit. We're in CCU, why not? Yeah, of course it depends. But this one is definitely this person is not a cardiac case. So most likely it will be a high dependency unit, intensive care unit. What's the common ground for those units? Of course, they can monitor the patient frequently. Okay, the nurse patient ratio there, of course, lesser compared to a regular ward. Okay, it might be 1:1 or 1:2, compared to a ward like AMU 1:5, or like an elderly care ward 1:7. Okay, so there you go. Well done. Thank you for your answers. Of course. So if you read between the lines, the ASH might go to an area with more frequent monitoring, such as HD or ICU, based on the scenario. Okay? So, of course, you have to read between the lines as well on the exam. So, next. So, again, please do not forget to state the reason of your handover. So, an example of which is, of course, I'm handing over, let's say this is my end of shift report. Yeah. So, let's say, remember, like what I've mentioned earlier, your shift might be ending. So, of course, I'm handing over because definitely my shift is ending. Okay. Another example, let's say, I remember someone mentioned about, there you go, Maya mentioned about the TVN. So I'm handing over, let's say, this patient because the patient has a wound and I need some advice regarding the wound. Again, it might be written in the scenario. That's an example. So I'm handing over the patient, or I'm making this referral or this call for you to evaluate the patient further. Okay? Let's say you need some advice about the wound. Of course, you will be calling the TVN because they are the specialist. Okay? Let's say another example would be a community nurse. Let's say, I don't know if you're familiar. So let's say in the UK, you also have community nurses. Of course, based on the name, on the title, they don't work in the hospital. They work in the community. Let's say you had a patient who's discharged a couple of days ago, and you need the nurses to follow up with the patient. So you might need to make a referral or a call or a handover to the community nurses for them to check the patient in the community. Let's say the patient, another example would be, let's say a patient has mental health problems or mental health issues, and you want a follow-up visit from the community nurses. You can also do a referral, and of course you need to do a handover, so they would know the full picture of the patient, the reason for your handover, and any other pertinent information that the nurses should know when they visit the patient. So of course they could plan the best course of action. There you go. So those are the potential scenarios or the potential reason for the handover. So again, it will be written on the scenario. So make sure to be to really focus on the scenario. You might be reading between the lines. Of course, that is your 1C. Okay, let's go back to the marking criteria. Do you have any question? I hope I'm making it easy. Okay, I hope whatever I'm saying, it makes sense. It will make sense eventually. Okay, all right. So, any questions before we carry on? Before we carry on with the background. Okay, no questions. Just type your questions. Yeah. All right. Let's move to background. So background. So 2C, 2A, okay? Oh, guys, I'll give you a tip. Again, remember, you need to structure your handover. So, I do suggest, I always tell my student, when you do your handover or your S-bar, start with the situation is. Okay? So, at least the assessor would know that you're actually handing over the situation part or aspect of your S-bar. Okay, so the situation is, my name is Emmer and I'm based here at, let's say, acute medical unit. My patient's name is, let's say, Emmer Diego, hospital number, etc. There you go. That's how you do it. So it will be structured. Because I know, of course, I've assessed a lot of students already. Some of them, they're starting from the background. Okay, so make sure, guys, to follow the marking criteria. Because remember, one of the criteria here, you will see it needs to be systematic and, of course, structured. Background states the date of admission, the visit, the reason for initial admission, referral to the specialist team, and diagnosis. Okay, so where can we find those information? So let me show you again the mock exam. So remember, you have what we call your overview of the patient information. Everything will be there. Okay, so everything will be there. Let me read the other criteria first before I show you the sample document. So 2B talks about, you need, of course, notes previous medical history and relevant medication, social history. 2C, you have to give details of current events and details the findings from assessment. Okay, let's focus on 2A and 2B. Again, let's focus on 2A and 2B first. All right. So, Emmer, where can we find those information? It's a lot, Emmer, because it talks about presenting complaint. It talks about past medical history. So, you need to, what you need is, you need to grab this document. Oh, sorry, wrong. All right, there you go. So if you go back to your overview, so it's a lot of page. There you go. So hopefully you can see this one. So this document is on the assessment. Is part of your assessment station. Yeah. So this document is called the overview of the recent history. Apart from the patient's information such as your name, date of birth, address, GP, you also have the presenting complaint, the past medical history, the social history, the drug history, and allergy. So, Emmer, are these the answers? Yes, these are the answers for 2A and 2B. So you're just basically reading this. Okay? Yes. Okay? So the answer for 2A and 2B lies on this document. Or lie on this document. Yeah, so you're just basically reading this. So let's read it. Okay? Let's say, presenting complaint. Recalled following bowel screening and undergone a rigid sigmoidoscopy. The diagnosis with a small primary colorectal cancer. Undergone a laparoscopic hemicolectomy, which was, I'm getting slurred now, which was uncomplicated and no stoma necessary. Now attending the surgical assessment unit 10 days after surgery with 5 centimeter wound at the surgical extraction site. The wound is inflamed with some exudate. Ash expresses feeling hot and more tired than usual. So that is the presenting complaint. Reduced dietary and fluid intake since surgery and has not opened bowels for 4 days. Feeling emotionally low and expressing abdominal pain. Walked unaided before the surgery, but finding it more difficult to mobilize due to abdominal pain. So I hope you can picture the patient. Yeah, I hope you can picture the patient. What do you think might be the possible care plans here? Yeah, type it on the chat box. Okay, based on the presented complaint, what are your possible care plans? Okay, so type it on the chat box. I will just continue. So for 2A and 2B, the answers, we've mentioned parts of the answers already. It's in here. So we're just basically reading this, of course, yeah. You can, of course, summarize it again, but do not miss important points of this document. Next is your past medical history. Yeah, your past medical history. It says here the patient had broken arm when he was age 8. I don't know, how old is the patient now, do you think? He's 1950, so definitely the patient is an older person. Yeah, an old person. Because 1950 plus 2023 equals 73. Am I correct? I hope my math is mathing. All right. So next is hypertension since 2005. And of course, the patient has glaucoma since 2017. So apart from the one mentioned above, the patient had a broken arm, hypertension, and of course, glaucoma. I hope you're aware of those diagnoses, yeah? I don't need to explain what glaucoma is. And hypertension, of course. If you're unsure, of course, you can just Google it. But we can discuss it next time. Social history. Normally lives and cares for partner. So social history, of course, talks about the social aspect of the patient of the patient's story. There you go. So normally lives and cares for partner who suffers with slight cognitive impairment. Partner currently staying with daughter Jenny since Ash admitted to the hospital. Ash refuses to stay with Jenny as didn't want to leave own home. Lives in a two-story house. He is a non-smoker. Drinks at least 2 pints of of course of a beer. Daughter or son-in-law visit every day. It says here they bring food. Of course, you also have your drug history. You have your Ramipril, the eye drops, and of course, a painkiller. You will just basically reading this. Guys, what is the common reason why candidates are failing evaluation, particularly 2A and 2B? They are forgetting the section, the bottom section, which is the allergy. Okay? Guys, remember this? We had like couple of students who failed or nurses who failed the exam because of not mentioning the allergy. Okay, they normally stop at the drug history. Guys, please, if the patient has allergy, please mention it. If the patient doesn't have any allergies, please do mention it as well. Okay, so the patient doesn't have any allergy. I remember we have a couple of, of nurses who failed the examination because of not mentioning the allergy. Again, let's all recite this. I will not forget to mention the allergy for 2A and 2B. Okay? So let's all we will all chant it this evening. I will not forget to mention the allergy. Okay? Please do not forget that. Okay? We had for some reason that is the trend for evaluation. We have a couple of people who actually failed because of not mentioning the allergy. So again, for to summarize 2A and 2B, you're basically reading this. Okay, you're basically reading this. So presenting complaint, of course, the present problem of the patient. It contains a diagnosis, the potential problems of the patient. So the presenting complaint, it might tell you the potential care plans. So I can see that you've mentioned here on your answers, pain, of course, risk of infection, definitely, pain, definitely. So when you do your assessment, of course, one of the concerns of the patient might be higher chance would be pain. ADL only said probably there might be some issues with activities of daily living. Because can you imagine, you're in pain, the patient had surgery, the patient, what else? He feels more tired than usual. It says here, there's something about the food I remember. Reduced dietary and fluid intake. Okay, so can we consider that information as a potential risk for malnutrition? Probably. Okay. There is a question from Maya. If there is sensitive information, do we need to mention it in spite of not being relevant to the person we are handing it over to? Example, homeless scenario. The patient is an IV drug user. That's a good question. That's a good question, Maya. Definitely, I cannot say that here live, yeah, because there are a million of people watching. But of course, that's a good point. Definitely, not the best example, Maya, but of course, definitely you have to select the information handing over to. But again, if you let's give a different take on Maya's question. Question. What if the patient, let's say, you're handing over to let's say a TVN, the sensitive information that probably you're thinking whether to disclose or not is the patient has HIV. Will you hand that information to the TVN or not? What do you think? Let's say, yeah, just changing the scenario that Maya gave us. What do you think? If the patient has HIV and you're handing over to, let's say, a TVN, or a physio, will you consider handing over that information or not? Will that information be relevant to a colleague or not at all? Oni said, definitely. What others think? So it depends, of course, it depends on the scenario, definitely. Um, Definitely, yeah. So you need to think whether that information is an information worth handing over. If the information is relevant to the person you're handing over with. Okay, so yeah, definitely it's a good one. Um, Janelle also seconded the answer. I think yes, as part of risk assessment. Of course, definitely these are the instances wherein, of course, you need to, of course, think about the welfare of your colleague as well. Okay. It was my previous. Another one is Maya. Maya again. Maya, make sure you download what World Remit, yeah? Engages in self-harm activities plus infected leg ulcer. I'm handing it over to a TVN for leg ulcer. Do I need to mention about above the issue? Why not? Okay, why not? Why not? Because especially if it's relevant. So we're talking now about the OSCE. Especially if it's relevant to the scenario. Yeah, especially to the relevant to the scenario. Of course, why not? Definitely, it's a risk assessment. Of course, I believe definitely the TVN needs to know it because of course, if the patient probably has problems with drugs, yeah, drug misuse, it might affect the course of treatment, the plan for the patient. Of course, they need to know that, so they will be able to plan properly for the patient. Yeah, probably you might be thinking, is drug relevant to the TVN? Probably it might not be. They are of the different. I mean, different stuff. Yeah, but again, it might be relevant because it will affect the course of treatment. It will affect the course of planning for the patient. Yeah, when they're thinking, oh, this patient is, of course, let's say, drug misuse. There you go. The patient is substance abuser. They should know because they could include that on their plan. There you go. Maria, I hope that's Maria. I think Maria. So they should be able to take care of themselves and use. There you go. I think you're answering the HIV question. Yeah, definitely. Oscar. Oscar, is this Oscar my friend? Oscar, are you Oscar my friend or are you a different Oscar? Um. All right. Right. Let's carry on. Okay. So social history. Of course, past medical history, it will give you more information about the patient. And I'll give you a tip, guys. So typically, the social history, the past medical history will give you some hint on what medication you're about to administer for when you reach implementation station. And as you can see, yeah, look at the past medical history and the drug history. What do you think is the relationship of the information here? The past medical history and the drug history. What can you see? What do you notice? Normally, the drug history or the medication the patient is taking is related to their medical history. Yeah, let's say example, Ramipril, of course, what is this medication for? Hypertension. Yeah. Um Timoptol, of course, possibly for glaucoma. Yeah, and of course paracetamol, of course the patient is in pain. Yeah. So there is a potential that you will be seeing these three medication on the patient's drug chart. Okay? They might be changes, but you might see this medication on the drug chart. So you will you're just basically reading this, and of course, do not forget to read the allergies. Yeah. So there you go. Let's carry on. Ramipril, of course, for hypertension. Hi, Calvin. Thank you for watching. Please download our guys. Do you know Calvin? Calvin is in one of our videos. Yeah. Hi, Calvin. There you go. All right. Next, where are we now? I hope you're enjoying our sessions. Yeah. We are now we are nearly there. Okay. Let's go back to the mark. Any questions, guys, before we continue? All right. So marking criteria. Let's go back to our marking criteria. So 2C now. So gives the details of the current events and details the findings from your assessment. So for 2C, it talks about the assessment or the findings that you did or you had during your assessment station. So whatever the findings are during your assessment station, you have to state it here. Let's say, and of course, you need to details the findings of your assessment. Whatever assessment you had during, of course, during assessment station, you have to state it here. So, Emmer, question, why is it part of the background? Because remember, the assessment station took place in the morning. Not in the morning, in an earlier time of the day. Or let's say, yesterday. Yeah, it happened in the past. Yeah, remember, at this point during evaluation station, assessment station happened in the past. So that's why if you give the details of the findings during assessment, it's now part of your background. Yeah, it's now part of the background. So what are the things you might be handing over here? Your previous what do you call this? Your previous vital signs or your observations. So for 2C, you can hand over your old vital signs. Okay. So Emma, where can I find my old vital signs? Remember on your exam, on your assessment station, there is, let's say, a paper that you can take down notes. So you can grab that paper and then state your previous findings. Okay. You can state your vital signs and any pertinent information that you assess during the other station, the previous station, which is assessment station. You have to state it here. You need to, of course, state your new score, okay, and any problems that the patient verbalized. So that's your assessment. So for assessment now, so the third part of your S bar, assessment, 3A. You have to state the most recent observation, any results from assessments undertaken, and what changes have occurred. So for assessment, for 3A, where can you find the information? So at this point, for assessment, you need your evaluation paper. Okay, so you need your evaluation paper. Let me show it on the screen. An example. Let's grab your. So whilst waiting for your while I'm looking for this, again, we would like to thank our sponsor this evening, World Remit. Please do download their app, and of course use World Remit when you're sending money home. Use my code EMER, the one on the screen here, and you will get an additional £15 when you send your first transaction. And of course, you will be able to get a chance to join our final coaching this evening. Just send me a screenshot of your transaction. So, and then we will announce the winners tomorrow. Okay. All right. So going back to assessment, remember, states the recent observations. It's written in this paper. So as you can see, Ash's most recent observations were. Yeah. So please, guys, you need to read this. So for evaluation station, there are a couple of people who failed because of not reading the recent observation. So when I mean the marking criteria asks for the recent observation, it's this, yeah. So Emmer, you mean to say you were just basically reading the section? Of course, yeah, of course. You need to read this. Oh, thank you, Brian. All my supporters are here. Thanks, Brian. And of course, our Vernon is here. Hi, Burns. Make sure you use the code, yeah. All right. So Ash's most recent observation. Make sure to read this. So the temperature 38.4 is 38.4. Definitely the patient has fever. Pulse 92. It's still normal but on the high side. Respiration, it's still normal but it's on the, of course, the higher side. Yeah. Oxygen saturation 96 on air. Of course, that's normal. Blood pressure 108 over 59. What do you think? So let me ask you guys. So the patient's blood pressure is 108 over 59. Is this normal or low or high? What do we think based on our scenario? What do we think? So while you're answering that, thank you for again joining our session this evening. Thank you for staying. We have 20 million watchers this evening. Thank you for staying. I know it's a cold evening now. It's getting late. So what do you think? 108 over 59 millimeter mercury. Do you think this is high for the patient? This is low based on the scenario, or it's just normal? What do we think? Please share your thoughts on the comment section. Low side. Yeah, a bit low, isn't it? Especially we know or we learned when we read the scenario, the patient has or is diagnosed of hypertension, isn't it? And remember, the patient is taking ramipril. So this might be low for the patient. Okay, this might be low for the patient. Of course, it definitely you need to consider your clinical findings. Definitely. So and of course the new score is 3. We don't know what the new score of the patient previously, but based on this findings that you have on the screen, why do you think the patient scored 3? Okay? Can you please tell me why do you think the patient scored 3? What made it 3? Which which vital signs made this score? Or is it only one vital sign? Okay. Let's see if let's see how no I mean if you know your news well. Okay, so which vital sign or which vital signs made the score 3? So only said temperature. Would you agree? 38.4. What is the score for 38.4? Temperature. All right. So what is the score for the temperature? Let's do a quick review of the news. Let's do a quick review. Any answers? Oh, sorry. I didn't realize your answers. So, temperature BP1, is it? BP2. Okay, is that correct? Would you agree? Oh, all right. There you go. Thank you for your answer, Oni. So, let's see if that's correct. I hope I can show the new score on the screen. So 38.4 on our new score is 1. Okay, 38.4 is 1. The pulse, what do you think is the pulse? Pulse is 92. Pulse is also, it's 1. Yep, pulse is 1. Respirations, 20. 20 is still 0. Of course, your oxygen saturation, 96 and above, is 0. Blood pressure, 108 over 59. The patient will score 1. So the new score is total 3. So we know that this is not a 3 in a single parameter. So it's 3 because of, 3 parameters which scored 1. Okay, so that's your new score. Again, regardless, still high. Yeah, still high. So there you go. Well done. Thank you for your answers, guys. Let's get on. So at least you can now picture. You now have like a better understanding why the patient scored 3 because of the following. Yeah. So that is your states the recent observation of the patient. Okay. So let me just show what do I need to show? The marking criteria once again. Thank you for your answers, guys. Oh. All right. Okay, so for 3A, going back to the marking criteria, so again, you need to state the recent observations. So you're just basically reading this paper. And of course, any results from assessments undertaken and what changes have occurred. So make sure to compare your what does it mean when any results from assessment undertaken? Let's say you might see information about the PHQ-9 there. If you've used PHQ-9 during your station, you might see an additional information about that. If you've used the same must, you might see some information about the nutrition of the patient there. Let's say you've used GCS instead of news. Of course, you will be seeing that here in this section. And of course, you have to state the changes, what changes have occurred. So you will be comparing your latest observations or your findings from the previous one. So you might be using some words to compare. So guys, let me ask you, what are the words that might show comparison? Okay? What words that might indicate or might show comparison? Can you please type it on the chat box? These words, you might be able to use this on this section or during your examination. What words do you think that might demonstrate or show comparison? Thank you for while waiting for answer. Yeah, thank you for those people who's watching us. Yeah, so while waiting for answer, please do subscribe on my channel, and then please do follow me across my social media. It's Emer Diego across all media platforms, and don't forget to follow me on TikTok. Not only fans. I'm just kidding. All right. So what do we think? What words might show comparison? There's a question from Oscar. Do we need to memorize? You don't. So you need to you need to remember the marking criteria. You need to remember the S bar format. Yeah. When you're handing over. Of course, the marking criteria will not be there on the day. Yeah. So you really need to practice this. Keep practicing. That's the key. No question. So possibly the words might be, let's say, of course, the words to compare will be like greater, less than, isn't it? But you will not be using that for a person. Probably, the patient improved. There you go. The patient, let's say, the vital signs improved compared to the previous one. The vital signs, let's say, is worse compared to the previous one. There are signs of deterioration. Okay, the patient is deteriorating, based on the vital signs. Yeah, comparing it with the old vital signs. So you might be using those words or those statements to make a comparison. Yeah, because it will of course show the changes that have occurred. Let's say the patient, an example, the patient's pain score. Let's say earlier the patient's pain score was, let's say, 2. During the evaluation station, probably it's written on the scenario, the patient's pain score is, let's say, 8. So what changes have occurred? Possibly the pain is worse now compared to earlier, okay, or compared to when you did your assessment station. So make sure to compare that. Yeah, let's say the new score previously was 0. Now, based on your recent or your latest vital signs, it's 3. Definitely there is a sign of deterioration in there. Okay, the patient is not doing good at the moment. So that might be your so please do remember that on the day. So next is 3. Where are we now? 3B. So identifies the main nursing needs. So Emmer, where can I find the answer? So you will get your answer from your planning station. Remember, on your planning, what's your main task for the planning? To identify 2 nursing needs or nursing problems. So you're just basically reading your care plan. Okay, so for 3B, you're just basically reading your 2 care plans, your 2 problems. So let's say you've identified, based on your answers earlier, you've identified, let's say, pain as one of your problems. Let's say you've identified risk for infection as one of your problems. You have to state that for 3B. Okay, so you're again basically, of course, you can also add any other problems that you've identified. Let's say, what else? Let's say, what problem could, let's say, risk for malnutrition. Let's say depression. What else? Let's say risk of fall. Let's say risk of developing pressure ulcer, etc. Okay, so you can also state other problems that you think the patient is experiencing. So again, you're just basically reading your care plans, especially the 2 care plans you've identified, or 2 problems rather that you've identified. So 3C states the nursing and medical interventions completed. So what are the answers here, Emmer? So you're just basically reading the rest of your care plan. The interventions that you've written on your care plan. So example, on your care plan, let's say you've monitored the patient's vital signs or observation and escalated as per news policy. So this is one of your nursing intervention that you've completed. Let's say I've educated my patient regarding the deep breathing exercises. That might be your another nursing intervention. Say I administered analgesia. I administered paracetamol for the pain. An example would be, let's say, I monitored the patient's BMI or the MUST regularly. That might be an intervention. I administered, let's say, I repositioned the patient. Let's say the patient is experiencing difficulty of breathing. I repositioned the patient, let's say, high Fowler's position. Okay, so let's say for the pain, I of course lessen or eliminated the triggers of pain. Those might be your interventions. I educated the patient about non-pharmacologic interventions. Let's say watching the television, listening to music, etc. Those are your intervention, and you're just basically reading what you've written on your care plan. Of course, only select the interventions that you think you've performed or you've completed. Again, only select the intervention that you've written in your care plan you think you have completed. Okay, so please do remember that. Of course, on your care plan, you say you've given this medication, and then when you did your implementation station, you did not administer a particular medication. Of course, do not mention that on your evaluation station. Let's say on your care plan, you've written, I've administered, let's say, analgesia to my patient, and of course, during your implementation, you did not. Of course, it didn't happen. Yeah, so evaluation station, you might not, that might not be relevant for the scenario. Okay, so please do remember that. Yeah, I'm trying to read your comments. Okay. Any other questions before we carry on? And of course, to wrap up our assessment, you have to state the areas of concern. Okay, the areas of concern. Any concern that you might have for the patient. Let me give an example. Let's say the patient is concerned about, just an example, yeah. Let's say the patient is concerned about. Remember Ash's scenario. The let's say Ash is concerned about the partner. Remember, the partner, they have a kid with. I remember. I don't know if I remember it correctly. The patient's son, is it, has learning disability. The patient might be concerned about his family. Okay, that might be the concern. Yeah, any concerns from the patient. The patient is really concerned about his condition. Let's say an example. When this happened to the patient went to intensive care. The patient is a bit anxious about his condition, and he keeps asking about the condition, of the condition of his family at home. So that might be the concern that the patient has. And of course, you also need to state your concern. An example. What example what we can possibly think of? Let's say the patient's news is now higher compared before. It's now 3. So you can see that the patient's temperature is 38.4. Is that a concern? So I'm concerned about the patient's temperature. It's now 38.4, which of course indicates fever. The patient looks unwell. So that might be your concern. So any concerns from the patient and any concerns from you that you want to hand over. Remember, you're handing over. You want the next person to know the areas of concern. Okay? So for this particular patient, let's say Ash, the area of concern is there is a potential of the patient experiencing infection, isn't it? Because temperature is high, pulse is going up. Is it 92, isn't it? So it's starting to go on the higher side of the normal values. That the respiration is still, it's 20, although it's normal, but it's on the higher side. So of course, once it reaches 21, the patient will definitely score. It will go up to 4, okay, or higher. So I hope that makes sense. Say another example would be during implementation station, the patient was prescribed with amoxicillin. The patient is allergic to penicillin. That could be an area of concern. Okay? Let's say another area of concern would be what other areas of concern can you possibly think of? Let's say, can we also add, let's say, confusion? I know that will be your problem, isn't it? Can you think of other potential concern that you might see on the exam? Yeah, just type it on the comment section. All right, I think we might be ending soon. Last but not the least, okay, the recommendation. We still have a lot of people watching our session. So, recommendation states what is required of the person. Of course, Janelle said blood pressure. That is an area of concern because the patient's blood pressure is on the low side now. Well done. That could be the concern, yeah, that you need to the next person to be aware of. Recommendation states what is required of the person taking the handover and proposes a realistic plan of action. So guys, when you remember, you will be given a chance to take down notes. So what I normally tell our students, when you When you're given the opportunity to take down notes, use that to take down notes for recommendation. What do you think you want to say to the next person receiving the handover? What will be your proposal? Okay? So, based on the scenario, okay, let's try to think of possible recommendation. Can you help me? Yeah? Can you please help me? So, this is Ash. He's deteriorating, of course, based on our scenario. What do you think? What do you think would you recommend to the next person who will receive or who will continue the care? Okay? Can you please help me? What do you think? What do you propose? Okay? What do you want the next person to perform? Can you please help me? Okay? So you'll never know. This might be your answer on the day of the exam. You might encounter a scenario similar to Ash. Okay? What would you recommend to the person? Okay? Please consider the scenario, the presenting complaint, the past medical history, medication, allergy, and of course the evaluation. Okay, can you give me some recommendation? What do you want the next person to do? Thanks, Junelle. She said monitor and reassess, observation, and of course news. That's well done. Definitely, one of your recommendations would be to continue monitoring the patient's vital signs. Well done. Any other recommendation we could possibly think of? Well done. That's well done. Of course, especially remember the patient's blood pressure is on the low side now. Patient's pulse going up. The patient has a fever. What else? Thanks, say Maya agrees with Junelle. What other recommendation you would want the next person to do? What propositions you might want to say? How about the pain? What can we do about the pain? I know at this point we only have limited information about Ash, yeah, because of course, we never met Ash. We're just supplying some missing information. But of course, you might want to, what else? Probably pain management. There you go. Not necessarily a referral to the pain team, but possibly you can possibly give like due medication for pain. Yeah, you might want to monitor the patient's pain, perform a pain assessment regularly, and of course administer energy pain medications. Let me just go to the presenting complaint. What else? Another one that you can possibly add on the examination day. What if I know on the scenario here the patient is non-smoker? Okay? I know the patient is non-smoker here. What if on the examination the patient is a smoker? What recommendation can you possibly think of? Thanks. Okay. So again, let's dive into other scenarios. What if the patient is a smoker? Or what if the patient is, let's say, suffers from substance abuse or alcohol misuse? Okay? What would be your recommendation? Okay? Another one, what if the patient had a fall? What will be your recommendation? Okay? This is not Ash now. Yeah? We're thinking of other scenarios. What if the patient is post-op? What would be the recommendation? So for recommendation, apart from, of course, your news, etc., you might be thinking about referrals. Well done. So Ani mentioned smoke cessation. Of course, we have what we call the NHS Stop Smoking, or also known as your smoking cessation team. Based on the old document of the OSCE, they are properly called NHS Stop Smoking, yeah, based on the old document of the OSCE. But they're also commonly known as the smoking cessation team. Okay. Think of referrals, yeah? Apart from the vital signs, apart from the medications that you could possibly give to the patient, apart from any other monitoring, think of referrals. So let's say it might be a referral to, let's say, um, I'm thinking of scenario, let's say a mental health team. It might be a referral to a social worker. It might be a referral to, let's say, we have what we call in the UK a substance misuse team, a drug misuse team. Yeah, we have, remember for your homelessness, you might encounter the patient experiencing substance misuse. Okay, so we have that team that you could possibly refer the patient to. Any social problems, we have a social worker. Any problems with mobility, we have our physio and OTs. Guys, I have an assignment for everybody. Please make sure you know the difference between a physio and an OT. Yeah? Please make sure you know the difference between an OT and a physio. Okay? Of course, they have different roles. There you go. Package of care, if it's relevant, I hope you're familiar. Everyone is familiar with the package of care. Okay, so the patient might need extra support at home. Of course, if the patient is, let's say, living independently in their own home, they might need some extra help, and that might be a package of care. But of course, if they're in a nursing home, definitely the care there is 24/7. Or if in their hospital, they might be. So think of your recommendation. So for recommendation, the possible are, of course, your monitoring tool. News, PHQ-9, your must if it's relevant, of course, GCS, to continue monitoring the patient, and of course, use those tools appropriately. You might want to say, of course, continue the care plan. Can we say that? Let's say, nurse, please continue the care plan, and of course, reevaluate as necessary. Remember, you created 2 care plans, let's say for the pain or let's say for difficulty of breathing. Remember, you've created a care plan. Shall we tell the next person, can you please continue with the care plan? Of course, reevaluate as necessary. Can we also mention that, of course, if there are any changes with the care, make sure to escalate or inform the rest of the team. Can we also say that during our recommendation? Okay, don't forget about the referrals. Let's say post-op. Shall we talk about proper aseptic non-touch technique? Shall we talk about proper hand hygiene? Shall we talk about wound care? Okay, so those are the things that you might want to say or state during your recommendation station. Okay, any other things that you might want to add that a problem is? There are loads of things you can possibly recommend. Of course, it will be based on the scenario. Another one would be, let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say, what if the patient is diagnosed with depression? Yeah, the patient is a known case of depression. The patient is already taking antidepressants. Based on your conversation, the patient said that she thinks or he thinks that the medication is not working, it's not doing its job anymore. Shall we think about, or shall we consider handing over to the next person? Let's say you're handing over to a mental health team or to a doctor, like the one on this example. Shall we tell the doctor, can you please reevaluate the patient's medication? Can you please review the patient's medication? Because according to the patient, the medication is no longer working. Can we do that? Or let's say you're handing over to the dietitian. Let's say the patient is a known case of malnutrition. The patient is already on supplements, and then it's not making any difference. Shall we hand over to let's say a dietitian to a nutritionist? Please reevaluate the patient's dietary supplements, because let's say it was prescribed 2 months ago, and yet the patient's BMI is still low. Okay, so hopefully, guys, from our conversation, it's nearly 2 hours, you learned something. Okay, you learned something. So to summarize, let's if you have any question, just pop it on the chat box. Yeah, let's try and finish the marking criteria now before we end the night. I'm afraid we have to sleep. Okay, all right. So number 5. Oh, thank you guys. We still have loads of viewers, yeah? So please do subscribe on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Emmer. And we do here regularly. It's just that in the last few weeks, my microphone was broken, so we cannot go live stream. And now my camera is broken. My camera is meant to be in this side, yeah? My camera is meant to be in this side, but again, it's broken. The camera decided not to work this evening. So I'm using my computer's camera, so it's a bit low quality at the moment. So, but thank you for staying. Number 5 for the overall, again, not done yet. Verbal communication is clear and appropriate. Of course, when you communicate, it should be clear and appropriate. I know, of course, we're coming from different parts of the world. Probably for most of us listening or watching or doing the examination, English is not the first language. Of course, make sure to improve on your enunciation, on how you communicate on the day of the exam. Because, of course, if the assessor or the examiner couldn't understand you or had a hard time listening to whatever you're saying, it might, of course, affect the result. All right, number 6, a systematic and structured approach taken to handover. So, definitely you should follow the SBAR format. Of course, you will not be starting the handover with the recommendation. Yeah, definitely you will be starting the handover with SBAR. And of course, number 7, you act professionally throughout the procedure. Of course, make sure you will be professional during the day of the exam. Yeah, do not fight with your examiner on the day. Okay, so that might be a ground for a fail. Okay. All right, so that's ours. So hopefully you enjoyed our session. Let's read some comments before we go. Can you please do a sample S-bar? Oh my god, for Ash Potter. Only do you mind doing an actual S-bar for this scenario for reference? Okay. Shall we try that? Yeah, I hope. I will just fill out the gaps. Yeah, of course we don't know what actually happened to Mr. Ash Potter. All right, so shall we do that? But yeah, make me do me a favor. Download download Word Limit, of course, and then please use my code on your first transaction. You will get additional £15. And of course, if you want to join our raffle, please do send me a screenshot of your transaction and you will be able to join the final coaching for free this weekend. Why not? Okay, so let's say if you send £20, put the code before you send it, Emmer, it will be £35. There you go. Why not? Okay, and make your family member happy this Christmas. It's not Christmas yet, but every day should be Christmas. Okay, so I'm not suggesting you send every day, but why not if you can? All right, so please do use my code, download World Limit app. And of course, thank you World Limit for sponsoring our class. Thank you. And of course, all of you are amazing. Thank you for answering all my questions. We will do another one next week. Probably this time it will be a Saturday. Yeah, so next week we will do a Saturday session next time. So if you have any suggestions on what topic you want to discuss, please of course type it on the chat box, add it in the comment or send me a message and we will discuss it next week. And of course, for those people who will be taking their examination very soon, good luck. We are wishing you all the best for your examination. Of course, if you are still free this next week, please do join our next live stream. Just make sure to subscribe, yeah, and of course click the notification bell so you'll get notified when I go live. And again, please download the World Remit app and use the app when you're sending money home. All right, let's do an example. This might not be the best one, yeah, so bear with me. All right, you're putting me on the spot. Okay, let me just find the documents, right? Because it's hard for me to swap what do you call this, to swap screens. All right, so let's do one. Okay, again, I will just be making some information. Okay, I will just making up some information, so please do bear with me. This might not be the best one, but you can use this for reference. Okay, let's read Ash Potter. Of course, I want you all to pass, so let's do an example. All right. There you go. So if you're using your mobile to watch this live stream, of course, the screen will be small. Just, of course, grab your own copy of your mock exam and your marking criteria, so you can follow along. Yeah, follow along with me. So after I do this, pause the video and then do it yourself. Yeah, practice. Try to record yourself. Okay, so you can hear what you're saying. So let's do a practice. Let's pretend I have 8 minutes. Okay. All right. So let's say I'm now ready. I've done my quick note. So the time is still running. Let's say it's 6 minutes remaining because I used 2 minutes to take down notes for my handover. Say, hi assessor, I'm now ready to, let's say, handover. So the situation is, my name is Emmer Diego, and I am one of the nurses here, let's say, at surgical assessment unit. Okay. So my patient is Ash Potter. The date of birth is the 1st of the 1st, 1950. Hospital number is on the other side. It's 0004321. And his address is Sweet Street Hostel, Westshire, WW66PQ. Of course, we did mention the date of birth. The 1st of the 1st, 1950. Not yet. There you go. I'm handing over the patient because... Let me just go to the evaluation station. Sorry guys, bear with me because it's hard to scroll. Okay. I'm handing over the patient because Ash has received analgesia and antibiotics and laxative. However, he continues to feel hot, tired, and unwell. Okay, remember, the unwell part might be the main reason why we're handing over the patient. So remember, we're talking to the doctor based on the scenario. So, background. The patient was admitted today. How will I know that the patient was admitted today? It says here. So, the tip that I forgot to mention, the other source of information to find out when the patient was admitted is written on the drug chart. Yeah? As you can see here on the screen, drug chart, date of admission today. The time of admission at 10 o'clock. Okay, so 2A, remember for the background, the patient was admitted today at 10 o'clock and we need to go to our overview. Okay, the patient recalled following bowel screening and undergone a rigid sigmoidoscopy. He was diagnosed with small primary colorectal cancer, undergone a laparoscopic hemicolectomy, which was uncomplicated and no stoma necessary. Now, attending the surgical assessment unit 10 days after the surgery with 5-centimeter wound at the surgical extraction site. The wound is inflamed and with some exudate. Ash expresses feeling hot and more tired than usual. Ash also has reduced dietary and fluid intake since surgery and has not opened bowels for 4 days. He's feeling emotionally low and expressing abdominal pain. He walked unaided before the surgery but finding it more difficult to mobilize due to abdominal pain. Past medical history, he had broken arm when he was 8, hypertension in 2005, and of course he was diagnosed with glaucoma since in 2017. Social histories: Ash lives and cares for partner who suffers with slight cognitive impairment. Particular partner currently staying with daughter Jenny since Ash admitted to the hospital. Ash refused to stay with Jenny as didn't want to leave own home. He lives in a 2-story house. He is non-smoker. He drinks at least 2 pints of lager every day, how sometimes more. Daughter or son-in-law visits every other day, brings meals. Drug history, he's on Ramipril 5 milligrams once a day. Timoptol 0.5% eye drops, 1 drops both eye twice daily, and of course paracetamol 1 gram as required. Allergies, none known. So this morning when I did the patient's vital signs, Ash's vital sign, the patient scored, let's say, 2. Okay, the patient's respiration, it was 18. The patient's blood pressure, it was 140 over 70. The patient respiration was 18. The patient's temperature was 36.5. The patient's pulse was high. That's why the patient scored 2. The patient's, let's think of a pulse. Let's say the patient's pulse earlier, it was 112, which made the new score 2. The patient's saturation was normal. It was 97 on room air. Okay, so that's why the patient's new score was 2 this morning. Assessment. The patient also complained of pain during the patient's stay, and the patient appeared to be anxious about his situation and his family. Assessment. So the most recent observation of the patient are the following. So let's go to our evaluation paper. Sorry, bear with me while I scroll here. Okay. So the patient's recent observation are the following. Temperature 38.4, pulse 92 beats per minute, respiration 20 beats. Pulse 92, respiration. There is a typo on their mock exam. Yeah, they need to change this one. 20 cycles per minute. Oxygen saturation is 96% on air. Blood pressure is 108 over 59. And of course, the current news score is 3. So the news score is a bit higher. From 2, it's now up to 3. I can see that the patient has fever now. Earlier, the patient's temperature was 36. It's now 38.4. The pulse is a bit lower now compared to earlier, which was 112. Saturation remains the same. And of course, the respiration is still normal, 20, but it's on the high side. 3B, so identify the main nursing need. During the patient's stay, I've identified pain as one of the main nursing needs because the patient stated that he's on 5 out of 10. Okay. Another problem that I've identified was, let's say, the patient, let's say, anxiety. Yeah, the patient was so anxious about his condition, and he was really worried about his family. Okay, especially his partner with slight cognitive impairment based on the social history. He keeps asking about the partner's situation. Okay, and of course he's afraid of going back to intensive care because last time this happened, he went to intensive care unit. So states the nursing so the next criteria would be the the nursing intervention that I did during the patient's stay. I monitored the patient's vital signs and escalated as per news policy. Okay, I've educated the patient of the deep breathing exercises and non-pharmacologic interventions such as watching television, listening to music. I also assisted the patient, repositioned the patient in a comfortable position. What else? For the anxiety, I did assure the patient about his family's condition. So what I did, I offered the patient for a visit or a telephone call if it's possible. And of course, I've escalated the patient's condition to the doctor as necessary. Next is states the area of concern. The patient, one of the concern is the patient was so anxious about his family. He's really anxious. He's really concerned about the condition of his partner living alone with the daughter. Okay, since the patient's partner has cognitive impairment. Another area of concern is about the wound. Okay, there is a 5 centimeter wound on the patient, and it shows some, and there is an exudate based on the findings. So that's why the patient is at risk of infection. Or this could be your other problem earlier. I'm concerned about the wound which is not healing, and now the patient has a fever. Okay? That might be your concern. Recommendation: I recommend to please continue monitoring the patient's vital signs and, of course, escalate as per news policy. I also recommend that you continue carrying out the care plans for pain and for anxiety. Let's say if anxiety is your other care plan, or let's say continue the care plan for risk of infection if you've identified that as your problem. I also recommend to please arrange a phone call with the family once possible, because John is really, let's say Ash is really anxious about his situation, and of course the partner situation at home. I also recommend, because of the wound, to take a sample of the wound and send it to the laboratory for culture, because now John has a fever, and that might be the reason of the patient's temperature and of John's being unwell. So make sure to educate John about proper hygiene, and of course make sure to perform a septic non-touch technique when you're cleaning the wound. Okay? And of course, if John is in pain, he's got a paracetamol as needed for the pain. So those might be your recommendation for the patient. If in case the wound doesn't heal, since the patient is post-op, you could possibly contact the surgical team to have a look and reassess the wound. Okay, if it needs some surgical interventions. So that ends our handover. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so again, of course, I'm just supplying some information because I don't know the full situation or the full story of Ash. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I hope you can use that for reference for your examination. So we will be ending our live stream now. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Any question before we say goodnight? Any questions? Any question? So for you guys who will not be able to, of course, join our next final coaching, good luck on your examination. We are cheering for you, definitely. Yeah, so good luck. Definitely, you will pass it for sure. Yeah, you just need to claim it. So I always tell our students, you need to tell the universe what you want. Okay, so tell the universe that you will pass the examination. You need to manifest and claim it, definitely. Yeah, so good luck, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our session. Okay. It's not the best on you. Sorry, I'm not prepared to do a sample. Okay. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Again, it's not a formal class because we're just chatting. We're just that's why it's called Study With Me. We are just learning together. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy that. So just do me a favor, please, to subscribe on my channel, follow my social media accounts, and of course I will be happy once you share that you passed the examination and you find our sessions useful. So a couple of advertisements before we go. Please, if you want to join our final coaching next this weekend, go to I think it's on my Facebook, or just go to eventbrite.com, search for my name, and you will see the link for the tickets. Yeah. I think it's also on my YouTube, one of the posts there. And of course, if you want to join the final coaching for free, of course, download World Remit, use my code, send your first transaction, just send me a screenshot of your transaction, and I will put your name for the raffle. Tomorrow, 12 noon, I will announce the winner. So hopefully, you will be able to do the transaction this evening and download the app. Yeah. One more. I'm running for Victa, the charity that I've chosen to support for the London Marathon. If you can, please do donate. Yeah, of all the proceeds would definitely go to Victa. Okay, so they are helping a charity helping adolescent and children who are blind, or partially blind. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our session. Good night, everybody. We have to say good night, and hopefully, of course, you will pass the examination in no time. Okay, bye bye. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Good night. Good night. Sleep soon.